Tonight, Wanda will share some of her secrets that what it takes to raise a fine adult like Kevin Durant. Please help me give a warm Ranger welcome to Wanda Pratt.
Good evening. I have to do the same thing. How are you all tonight? I want to say that I'm truly grateful to be here. I don't take it lightly when I'm asked to come and speak about my life experiences as a mother with my sons, and so I'm really grateful. I want to share some of my life experiences so that you'll understand how being recipients of scholarships, myself and my sons, how it benefited our lives and the things that we came from and where it helped deter us from making bad choices in our lives. So I will say I'm a little nervous, so please forgive me. And I get a little emotional whenever someone talks about my sons. Like most mothers here, we like to hear good things about our sons. But first, I'd like to say thank all of the donors. Thank the president for having me speak. Thanks for agreeing to have me come to speak. All of you donors, it can go without saying that you know the importance of supporting students at a fine college like this. Thank you for the effort that you put forth. Thank you for all that you do. You're giving a second chance to so many students that you may never come across. You don't really know the backstory of their lives, but you've given them a chance to prove to the world that they can be viable citizens. And so I would like to say thank you, and I ask you all to give yourselves an applause. I grew up just outside of Washington, D.C. in a small town called Capitol Heights, Maryland, with my mom, my sister, and my brother. My mom was a single parent for the majority of my life. She was a blue-collar worker. My mom worked extremely hard. She showed us the skills of survival. But the one thing that my mom was not able to do, she was not able to extend her education and go to college because she was a single mom and she wanted to give the best to her children. And so my sister and my brother went on to college. I didn't go to college because I started a family really young at age 18, and so I had to focus on my children. Then I got married at age 21, became a single parent I got married at age 20, became a single parent at age 21, and so I was on public assistance. So I received, in a sense, a scholarship from the federal government. But then there was an organization in my town called the PIC program. And it was funded by donors such as yourselves and the federal government. And so I had to go and I had to apply and interview to be accepted in this program, which I was accepted. I was given the opportunity to take collegiate courses so I could obtain a job with the federal government, which I did. And I worked for the federal government for 20 years. I started out as a clerk typist, which was a secretary, and I ended as a senior staff position after 20 years. So I'm grateful for the scholarship and that somebody believed in me that I could do it. And in the process of being a single mom, while working in the federal government, my sons were a part of organized sports. And in those sports, they became really good at basketball. And so there were opportunities for them to go to high schools. And the high schools were collegiate high schools that kind of geared kids toward a specific university, where I couldn't afford this. And so because of donors such as yourselves, both of my sons received scholarships to high schools that focused on basketball and academics. My older son, Tony, received a $25,000 scholarship at St. John's Military School in Salina, Kansas, which he did 3 years. He graduated third in his class among student cadets, and he was in the top 10% of his class. At the time, Kevin was at a Christian academy in our area. He received a scholarship. His tuition monthly was about $600 a month, of which I only had to pay $150 a month. Kevin went on to become one of the finest NBA players that we know. Later, they both went on to go to one of those big pond universities. Kevin, I was paying attention. Kevin went on to the University of Texas, Austin. My oldest son, Tony, he went on to Towson University. And so I wanted to tell you our story because our backstory is that we weren't supposed to get there. We were not supposed to, my sons were not supposed to make it to those type of schools because we came from a little pond area. And because people like such as yourselves believed in people like us coming from areas where there's a lot of drugs, a lot of crime. At the time my boys came through our town, the town that we lived in was known as the murder capital of the United States. And so for my sons to come through that, I'm grateful. And a lot of people that made contributions to them have never met them. But the contributions that you all made and that they have made, it touched so many lives. Today, my son, Tony, he works with his brother's nonprofit foundation. He mentors children. He mentors children on the importance of continuing their education, the importance of paying attention in school, and the importance of working extremely hard. And that success will come in the end. That's what Tony does on a monthly basis with some friends that he partners with in California, in Oklahoma City, and in Washington, D.C. Kevin, as you know, made contributions to the Red Cross by helping the victims of the hurricane that hit Northern Oklahoma. And so because they were able to become vital citizens and vital part of our society, the contribution that they received extend far beyond the reach that you would think. It extends far beyond the hugs that you would give to the individual, but it goes to so many people. And so I just want you all to realize that there is a backstory that you're helping that you may never realize. And it's all up to people like you, like my sons, like me, to always find the need to give back and the importance of giving back, even when we can't really realize every single thing that we do is extremely important. And so I just want to let you all know that I appreciate you all. The students appreciate you all. The faculty appreciate you all. I remember when I was a volunteer at my son's school, and I saw the effort that their teachers put in. I saw the importance of a teacher caring and the support that she received from me. I didn't really think it was anything because, my sons, they were a little unruly like kids can be sometimes. So I was just trying to help her. And she just really appreciated me for what I had done. And I just want to say I appreciate you too. I'm not going to be before you long. If you all have any questions about Kevin, we can kind of get them out the way. And I am a little nervous because my sons were not supposed to make it. They were supposed to be the African American statistic. And so as I'm standing here and I'm talking about the accomplishments of their lives, it just kind of takes me back that they did make it. And it was because of people like you that cared. So I just encourage you to continue to care. And thank you so much. And if you have any questions about some of the things that we have gone through in our lives, I'm not going to give you too many details, but just a little something. And anything you want to know about Kevin, feel free to ask. And I know you all got questions about Kevin. Anybody?
Is he going to remain in Oklahoma City?
Hopefully, we'll find out in 2 years. Hopefully. I really like Oklahoma City. I think Oklahoma City is a good city for Kevin's personality and his temperament. I really do. And you know, LeBron went back to Cleveland and all of that, and so I don't want Kevin to come back home to play until he has a wife and some children. in the near future. So I'm hoping for Oklahoma City. I really am. Anybody else?
What was he like as a kid?
He was just a smaller version of what you see now. I'm going to tell you all this story about Kevin. When I started my sons out in organized sports, football was the season. We started football. And so he played, I thought he should play quarterback because he was so tall and he could see over the line. But the coach felt that because he was so tall, he should be in front of the, I don't know football, I just know basketball, but he should be in front of the quarterback of the other team so he could kind of block the ball, right? And so, but he didn't do a very good job at it. And so the coach kind of said, well, Kevin, you know, maybe we're gonna get you off the bench, right? So one of the guys, the coach said to another kid, if you can't knock Kevin down, you're gonna put you off the team. So Kevin, the little boy knocked Kevin down. I'm like, nah, this is football, Kevin, come on, right? So he said, Mom, he really couldn't knock me down, but I didn't want him to be put off the team. And it was a good thing, and I'm like, well, Kevin, this is football. That's how he was as a kid. He was always a very loving kid. It's just who you see now, but just as a little person. Yeah. Anybody else? Come on, guys. Come on. Ma'am?
We want to thank you for raising such a great kid.
I'm still working on it, though. Don't talk so loudly.
How did your faith come into play with raising your children?
My faith was extremely important. I grew up in a Christian family. I had preachers all around me, my sister, my aunts, my dad, my grandfather. And so that was just a part of who I was. And so my core beliefs are really just based on scriptures. And so that's how I raised my sons. I took them to church, not all the time, not as much as I should have, but they did know about church. But because my life was rooted in the church, that's where my core values came from. So everything really came from there.
Kevin talks about you going to bed hungry. Tell us about that.
Well, yeah, I did. There were times when, and I really didn't have to because I had the support of my family. But sometimes when you mess up and make some mistakes, you feel kind of prideful. And you want to get yourself out the rut that you've gotten yourself into. And so because I had made a few mistakes financially, I had to make the sacrifice and go to bed hungry. And it was okay. It taught me to do it different the next time. But it was okay. But it was because I was prideful and I didn't want to let down my family and let my mom down, that I had made such a mistake that I had to not eat at night.
Did Kevin ever want to quit basketball?
Oh yes, he wanted to quit. He did. When he first decided that he wanted to play basketball, he came to me and told me and said that's what he wanted to do and asked me to help him. And so I sent him away and said, okay, think about it and come back. And he did that. And I said, he said, Mom, I really want to play basketball. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to push you. I'm going to push you beyond measure. You don't even know how hard I'm going to push you. And he had a coach. He and I partnered, and we were in it together. And so halfway through the process, he came to the coach and said, well, I think I want to take a year off. And so the coach had called me, and I said, okay, well, I'll deal with that when he gets home. So I said, okay, well, you can take a year off if you want, but you're going to do something. So you're going to learn to play the flute, or you're going to learn to play piano, but you're going to have an extracurricular activity outside of the home. So you decided if it was going to be the piano, the flute, or basketball. It didn't really matter to me at that time. Yes, ma'am. Oh, you want some coffee? Yes, sir.
Does he ever talk about what he wants to do after basketball?
Yes. he wants to be a coach of a professional basketball team. I remember when Kevin was a kid, he played, and he would probably kill me if he knew I told you these stories, so just keep it to yourself. But when he was a kid, he played with a clothespin, matchbox card, and a penny. And he would play with those items at my mom's house for hours and hours. And actually, they're still at my mom's house in the same place where he left them the last time he played with them. And I said, well, Kevin, what are you doing? And he said, well, I'm coming up with plays, basketball plays. So that's what he said he wants to do. He wants to be a coach. Yeah. Anyone else?
Do you live in the city?
Ma'am?
Do you live in Oklahoma City?
No, ma'am. I still live back home in Washington, D.C. area, but I'm here all the time.
Can he get us tickets for ball?
That's the hardest question that I get. I'm quite sure you have to wait in line.
I'm used to it.
Were you involved with basketball before you had Kevin and Tony?
Well, yeah, a little. I was very athletic in school, especially in junior high. But by the time I got to high school, I was just this girly girl. So sports was like, ugh. I didn't want to do sports, but I could shoot really good. And the basketball coach wanted me to be on the team, but it didn't have a pair of high heels and a purse. So I didn't like that. But I didn't really know the game of basketball until after my sons got into it. Mm-hmm.
Is Tony tall too?
Tony is 6'8", 6'9", about 250 pounds. He's a big guy. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He was on top tonight. He was good.
We talked about that. He called me to make sure. I was supposed to be there with him because it was supposed to go on next week, but I'm here with you guys. So, well, all of you aren't clapping, so I don't know. And so he called me to let me know, but I fell asleep. So, would he make me proud when I get proud?
Yes.
Okay, all right, okay, good. Anybody else? That's good.
How far apart in years are your sons?
2.5 years. Yes.
Was there a lot of competition between them?
Not really, because being a single parent, my oldest son, he was like my right arm. So he kind of took on the responsibility to look over me and Kevin. And so he really didn't compete with them. He would push him. Kevin attributes a lot of his success to him, even though they're just 2.5 years apart. Because he took on a really big role in our home as a kid. Yes, he did.
Is Tony married? Does he have children?
No, he's not married either. I'm patiently waiting on grandchildren. I hear that they are a joy, but I'm just waiting. You can tell them that part, though. Everything else, let's not talk about it. Anything else? Yes, ma'am.
As a mother, what do you think are some of the most important values or morals that you instill in your son?
To treat people the way you want to be treated. That sounds like we say that all the time, and that's one of the key things in the scriptures, but that's the truth. Just treat people the way you want to be treated. Always try to put yourself in someone else's shoes. Maybe you'll see it differently. Because life is not always according to how we think. And so that's how I try to instill in them. But that's after they listen to me as a mother. Yeah.
How has life been since Kevin's MVP speech?
It's been really busy. I've been traveling all over the country, and that sounds real big, doesn't it? But it's not really that much. But I've been traveling a lot, just speaking to single mothers, nonprofit groups, church groups, just sharing our story and trying to encourage the single moms to keep going and never give up, no matter what it looks like. Because there were some really dark days in the midst of us enjoying our lives together, that there were times that I wanted to quit and I wanted to give up. But I realized if I did, where would they go? What would they do? It wouldn't have been fair to my mom or my family to take on my responsibility. So I just had to keep fighting. And I'm so glad that I did. Thank you.
We are too.
Thank you so much. Anyone else?
Do you go to the away games?
Sometimes, but I did early on, but then I realized that's his job, it's not mine. It was a lot to travel all the time with him. I'll watch him on TV.
That way you see the rerun.
Right, and I think he appreciates that because I don't know of any 25-year-old young man that wants to be known as a mama's boy all his life. I would like for that to happen, but he's 25, so he doesn't want his mother around everywhere he goes. So I get it. Yes, ma'am.
How do you handle the fans around it? The negative part.
Is there any negative?
Yeah, is there any negative?
Of course. But it's just life, I just look at it. The fans, Kevin, how does he handle the fans?
No, well, how do you handle the fans?
Oh, well, I love it. I do, because I love it. Sometimes, how I look at it is that for a lot of people, I'm the closest that they'll get to Kevin. And so I just take on that responsibility that you all have taken the time to watch him play, to admire him, and the least I can do is give you a hug and say thank you and listen to your kind words that you say about my son. That's the least I can do. As far as the downside of it is just that he's a 25-year-old guy, and for those parents who have a 25-year-old son, at this point in their lives they know everything. And so knowing everything and being able to do whatever it is you want to do makes it hard on a mother. But I'm still mothering him and he's still listening, so it has its moments. But it's still good.
Are you ever going to give him a okay to get a tattoo?
Well, no. But as I said, he's old enough to do whatever it is he want to do. So he does have tattoos. I'm quite sure you all have seen them. I've asked one request in the tattoo world that they're in. Just keep it inside of your uniform. But they're everywhere under his uniform. They're everywhere. But this is what the young people are doing, so, Yes, ma'am.
I'm sure the rest of us agree. Whenever the Oklahomans printed about Mr. Unreliable, I thought that was completely wrong, and I don't think a single one of us in here ever felt that way about him. If you could relay the message to him.
I think they got it. People all over the world responded to them. And I normally have a really tough skin when it comes to them criticizing him because, he's not perfect. I mean, almost, but he's not. Especially when it comes to basketball. And so whenever they say something that I really don't like about him, I normally just let it, roll off my back. But that one really hurt my feelings. That one made me cry. It really did, because I know what my son gives to his team, his teammates. I know what he gives to the city and how he believes in the city. And so that one really kind of hit the core of who I was and what I believed in, and I had to respond. And I responded. And it was all over the world too that I responded. So, but thank you so much for your kind words. I appreciate it. See, it still makes me angry now. But a lot of people in Oklahoma City rallied behind him and supported him during that time. So thank you all so much.
Do you have certain people sit around you at the games to kind of protect you from things that are said?
No, ma'am. No, no. Sometimes the fans can be harsh. No, and I'm just in the mix, and sometimes I'm a little upset with the team too. Like, why didn't you pass the ball? Why didn't you shoot? What's going on? Yeah. But no, I'm just a fan. When I'm there, I'm his mom, of course, but I'm a fan of the game of basketball. And I have learned the game, and I love basketball. I love it. It's like in the summer, I'm going through withdrawals, so they get ready to have a few exhibition games. I'll be at those games. But if they're not doing it the way I think they should do it, like any other fan, I'm going to speak up about it. They don't really like it, so, but I do. Anybody else? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You?
Don.
Don? Of course. Oh, wow, of course. Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay, so Kevin is, he and his fiance, so somebody wants to know this, right? Every time I go somewhere, someone wants to ask me, is Kevin getting married? But they decided to hold off for a while. So the answer is not right now. But prayer is good. I believe in the power of prayer, and I still like her and love her, so hopefully they'll get it together. But they just decided to put it off for a while.
I was very proud of his working with the kids in Oklahoma City, and that there was too many at one time, and he extended his practice to for another week, and I thought that was special.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Very special.
He is a really decent young man. He really is. I'm proud to be his mom. I really am. He's not perfect, but I'm proud to be his mother. Yes, I am. Like I am with my older son. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'd like to applaud you, and I'm sure other people would too, for the wonderful job you've done raising those two boys.
Well, thank you so much. And with that being said, thank you for your time. God bless you.
And we, on behalf of all Rangers, have a little something for you.
Oh, wow. Oh. You all know me so well. Thank you.
We just are honored to have you here.
Thank you.
And
I just you all kind to be here.
absolutely. Thank you. Well, we are honored to have Wanda and all of our donors here this evening. And being back here, I'm somewhere in between, the new students and the professors, and it's always an honor to come back, and we're so honored to have Dr. Cunningham, and we just have wonderful people that surround from Skeeter and everyone here. Everyone deserves to be proud to be a Ranger, and we all are here for our students, but tonight is about the donors, and you all are why that we're all here, the students and the foundation. And the one instruction I had was, if you have a plastic tag, name tag, leave your tag here. We ask that hope everyone has a safe trip home, and again, thank you for coming, and we hope to see you all again next year.